Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Voices of ASEAN. My name is Beatrice, and I'm especially excited about the topic today because we're going to talk about a matter close to my heart, entrepreneurship. Now, I always believe that entrepreneurs are the heart and soul of the economy, as they are the job and value creators. I too am an entrepreneur. I became one when I was in my 20s, and it has been as challenging as it has been rewarding. And there were times in my earlier days as a business owner, I wish there was a network of fellow entrepreneurs available for me to share thoughts, best practices with, and like how to go from A to Z. And the good news is that young entrepreneurs in ASEAN have just that. And now they have that through the ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Council. Founded in 2016, Ayec, as it's known, is the official network for young entrepreneurs in ASEAN, and it seeks to enhance knowledge and the capacity of entrepreneurs throughout the region. I'm also pleased to announce that Ayec has signed an agreement with Voice of ASEAN, yay, to be our partner, and we have many exciting programs in store. And one of them is already starting, we're taking place today. We have Deborah Bottreau, the Secretary General of Ayec, as our guest. Deborah is also the president of the Malaysian Young Entrepreneurs ASEAN Association, or we call it MAYA, and she runs her own creative agency, Sienna DMB. Joining me live to talk about entrepreneurship, Ayec, and the partnership with Voice of ASEAN, here is Deborah Bottreau. Hi, Deborah.
Hi,
How are you?
Beatrice? I'm good, thank you.
So glad to have you on board. And you're my first female guest.
Oh, wow, yay.
And what a stunning guest you are, with so many accomplishments. And I'm so honored to have you as my first guest. I'm going to plunge
Thank
into
you
my
so
first.
much.
You're most welcome. So I'm going to plunge into my first question. So ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Council and the Voice of ASEAN signed an MOU for ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Council to be VOA's partner. As the Secretary General of AYEC, or Ayec as we can call it, what do you hope to see achieved from this partnership?
Well, first, I just want to say I'm very excited about this partnership, and I'm very, very happy that we did it, and so are all my other council members in the whole of ASEAN. So what we want to achieve from this partnership essentially is to have more outreach to the young entrepreneurs in the whole region of ASEAN and hopefully beyond.
Yes.
So through Voices of ASEAN, as you are, like a media agency, going to be hosting all these interviews with all these entrepreneurs coming along. It's super exciting, and also we find that it's going to be a great platform to really, inspire upcoming entrepreneurs, current entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs who maybe are feeling down, especially from the whole pandemic, perhaps their business was affected. And so hopefully this new partnership will be able to really inspire them, show them that, there are real entrepreneurs out there all over ASEAN, working really hard to do well, and also really showing the real side of it, that it's not all hunky-dory, it's not easy, there is hard work in it. Yeah. But if you really get, into it and focus and, look for more mentors, for example, or work with other entrepreneurs, you'll be able to succeed.
Yeah.
So hopefully through this partnership, we'll be able to achieve that outreach.
Oh, we definitely will.
Throughout.
But tell us more about, like, in each country, you have different types, different names for each of these associations, right? Like in Indonesia, it's called HIPMI. So what are the names for all of these different associations?
Yeah, so we have 10 associations per country, and each of them are obviously in ASEAN. So we have Brunei, so we'll go in alphabetical order. So Brunei is the Young Entrepreneurs Association of Brunei, and they are currently the ASEAN chair for this year. Okay. And then we move on to Cambodia, which is the Young Entrepreneurs Association of Cambodia. And then Indonesia shop is HIPMI, so it's Himpunan Pengusaha Muda Indonesia.
And then that's how it got HIPMI. I was wondering, how did it get to be HIPMI? It's very hip.
But yeah, very hip.
Yeah.
And they are one of the most, actually I would say the Young Entrepreneur Association in Indonesia. With them alone, they have about 20,000 members in Indonesia. And many entrepreneurs who are in HIPMI actually some of them who are looking onto a political journey come from HIPME.
Is that the
Such
same with
as-
all the other associations, or is it specifically only for Indonesia like that?
More specifically for Indonesia, but very similar for other countries. Not all of them, I'd say, but very similar.
Okay.
Because all these associations that sit in AYC, they must be endorsed by their respective international trade industry, which
I
means their
see.
government approves them to represent their country to sit in the AYC.
I see.
So
I see. Okay. So it's government endorsed, all these entrepreneurs.
exactly. Yeah,
So they must be
exactly.
like uber special entrepreneurs then.
Exactly. Precisely that. So then we have Laos, which is the Young Entrepreneur Association of Laos. Malaysia is the Malaysian Young Entrepreneur ASEAN Association, MAYA. And we have Myanmar Young Entrepreneur Association, Philippines Young Entrepreneur Association, Singapore Business Federation, SBF, and then Thailand Young Entrepreneur Chamber of Commerce. And lastly is Vietnam Young Entrepreneurs Association. So
everyone, all 10 countries are represented then.
Yes, we got all 10.
Yeah. There are a lot of interaction between all these associations.
Oh, definitely. We are very much like a family. We get very excited when we get to meet up because, you know, we very much are very close. And it's now, I mean, unfortunately, the last 2 years, we didn't get to meet up. So we meet virtually every month. We have a WhatsApp group within us as council members, which is active every other day. So we are in touch all the time. But we have meetings at least every month or every 2 months, especially running up to our Carnival, which we'll talk about. We meet very, very often because everybody helps the chair country to organize to make sure it's a successful event, because at the end of the day it's our AYEC council events.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this AYEC was formed not very long ago, wasn't it? It was 2015?
15, correct. Yeah, exactly.
What was the driving force behind that?
So the driving force came initially from ASEAN Business Advisory Council. So ASEAN Business Advisory Council, when they had a meeting in 2013, when Brunei was chair then, and so that is 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah, it became a full circle, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
wow. They announced that they will put entrepreneurship under the economic pillar. So when that was agreed, ASEAN Back had initially launched sort of like a young working group under ASEAN Back wing to sort of initiate this. And through my company, Sienna DMB, when I was organizing some events and branding and things for ASEAN Back, I was networking with all the other business councils. And, you know, we started talking about entrepreneurship and young entrepreneurs. And then we came to the idea that why don't we just set up an actual council that is literally just focused on young entrepreneurs, that is not a subsidiary of the ASEAN Back. So it can run on its own, but we are partners with them.
So it's independently organized, independently run.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. From ASEAN Back, yeah?
Yeah. So they supported that right away. And we were incubated under ASEAN Back for the first 2 years. So our structure is exactly the same as ASEAN Back. So we follow the ASEAN chairmanship, we move around together with them, and everything is just focused on young entrepreneurs. And so it took...
So hold on, Deborah. So if you say they move along, so when the chair is changed, it's the same. So the chairman of ASEAN Back, if it's Brunei, it will also be the chairman of Ayec, which would be Brunei. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I see. Okay, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
No problem. So for example, next year will be Cambodia. So Cambodia will be the chair next year. Brunei will then become the co-chair because they were the incoming chair after Cambodia will be the next co-chair.
And who will that be?
After Brunei is after Cambodia is Indonesia.
I see. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah. So it took 2 years to get all these 10 countries to come in and agree and get all the endorsements done. So in 2015 was when we officially launched the ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Council here in Kuala Lumpur during the ASEAN Business and Investment Summit.
And you were the Secretary General even then?
Yeah, so when we launched it, when we had our first AGM, they voted me in as the Secretary General, and they have kept voting me in
because
up
you're
till
so
now.
efficient. Even working with you in the short 1 week, we are like bowled over with your efficiency.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so we're trying to do things a bit different for the coming into next year, and also because work is growing, and all of us that sit in this council, we all do this voluntarily, so we don't make money from this, and we literally all are entrepreneurs, and our goal is it's sort of like I guess I could say and speak for everybody that we all have an ultimate, not an ultimate, but we have the same interest where we want to promote entrepreneurship and we want to help entrepreneurship in our country and together as one in ASEAN.
So how is that achieved? Like, that's the goal, which is very noble, but what are the steps you have in place to achieve that through ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Council?
So how we do it is it's not like we go out and say you can only join us if you are passionate about entrepreneurship and you will do this for free, but it's sort of just like an understanding that has come to play. And I guess so the founding members all had the same mindset, but the new ones that are coming in have sort of learned from us, some of us, but more than half of us are still around from the initial launch, which was in 2015. And they do learn from us, and they do understand that by doing this, they achieve a sense of completeness in one way. They also see that with this ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Council, we have a very strong relationship and a very strong network in ASEAN, because we are the louder voice for young entrepreneurs in ASEAN. We are officially endorsed by ASEAN Secretariat and by ASEAN Business Advisory Council. We are allowed to use the ASEAN logo and the ASEAN name. And so we have direct access to ministers and policy makers and leaders. And therefore, that gives us a very strong foundation, not to compare to other associations, but we want to work with other associations. We're not trying to compete with other associations. We want to become one. And we have no limitations, and we don't shy anybody away. So long as you are an entrepreneur, you are a young entrepreneur, you have a business, or you are coming into a business, we're more than happy for you to join our big family, as we would put it.
That's really great. It's a community that helps each other and thrives together.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So each association in each country has, every country has their own issues and their own benefits. So when one country is, say, lacking in something, all the other countries come in and say, how can we help you with this? If another country has a highlight, like, hey, we want to highlight, for example, Vietnam, they were highlighting, like, we want to send rice to the countries that are in need during this pandemic. So they come through the ASEAN network to announce this initiative that they have, so that we can spread it out through the whole of ASEAN.
I see. That's fantastic. So we probably have entrepreneurs from all over ASEAN watching this who may be interested in joining one of their national AYEA affiliates. What is the criteria for joining? And also, since the word young is in the name, just wondering if there's an age limit for the membership.
Yes. So in ASEAN, young is 45 years old, and youth is 30 years old. So we take it 45 years old and below. So long as you're an entrepreneur, you can have a startup, you are an MSME or an SME, it does not matter. So it's basically two criteria. Three. One is that you're below 45 and below. Two is that you are an entrepreneur. And three, that you are based in ASEAN. If you are not based in ASEAN and you are interested in joining the network, we're happy to take in your interest. And if you are part of one of our ASEAN Plus countries, then you can join in from that angle.
So what happens when someone who joined in at 40 is now 46? Do they get kicked out?
Well, we don't actually kick them out literally, but I mean, they understand that they cannot be part of the council officially. They cannot sit on the council. They can stay in as, say, an advisor. And a lot of them usually then go into ASEAN Business Advisory Council. But they can still attend our events. They can still, network if they wish to, but they cannot officially sit on the council.
I see. So what's the criteria for coming in?
Into the council or into the
besides
association?
This tree, so you have this tree, but like there's so many who would fall under the category. So how do you, is there a limit, or because you say it's government endorsed? So how does the government pick the right ones, or do they apply to the government?
Okay, so the associations who represent the country and that sit in AYEC, it's only one association per country.
Okay.
Yeah. And those associations have already, when we launched, have already received their official endorsement from their respective international trade industry. So for example, in Malaysia, it would be from MITI, the Ministry of International Trade. So if anyone wishes to join our ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Association, because that's where we take actual memberships from entrepreneurs, they need to be a member of the association from that country. So for example, in Malaysia, they need to be a member of Maya, and then they can be part of AYEA.
So to be a member of Maya, do they have to be government endorsed?
No, they just have to be an entrepreneur. The association itself is endorsed.
I see. Okay.
Not the entrepreneurs.
I see. All right.
Yeah.
So anyone who fulfills these three criteria can become a member of Maya in Malaysia or HIPMI in Indonesia.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it. I thought every single member has to be government endorsed.
No. Just the association.
All right. So the criteria is below 45. What was the other two again?
You should be an entrepreneur.
Below 45, and the third one?
And based in one of the ASEAN countries. So you can...
It's unlimited then. You'll have a lot of people.
Yeah, we have a lot. Yeah.
For the entrepreneur, do they have to have like a certain level of how much turnover their company makes?
No.
There's no limit. So you can even be having a turnover of 500 ringgit, for example, and you could be a member of Maya.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So it's very open. You should be having a lot of members.
Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Growing slowly. Yeah.
So, Deborah, as Secretary General of the ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Council, what exactly is your role, your vision, and your mission for this body?
So, as being part of the founding members of AYEC, and I would say, the founding Secretary General from day one, the whole idea and goal of the AYEC is to be inclusive and to be one platform where all entrepreneurs can come into one place. Okay. So this is also how we created our yearly event, the Carnival. So the idea is that's why we have no restrictions. So long as you meet those criteria, you can come and be part of us. Okay. We don't want to compete with anybody else because we are not here to compete. We are an open platform. We're here to be louder voices for entrepreneurs. We want to know all your issues. We want to know all your achievements. We want to highlight all these things so that we can be a bigger regional a regional council that can help grow entrepreneurship within the ASEAN region and beyond. And as many of you know as well, that ASEAN is now, the most interesting and growing biggest markets in the world. And we need to also have a support system for these young entrepreneurs to grow. And so that's the whole point of the AYC. It's to help one another. We're leaning on each other's back. No one is judging anyone at all. If you have a problem, just speak up. We're all here to help. I have my issues and problems too in my businesses. I ask my fellow, council members, what do you think I should do here? Or how should I improve this? And everybody is more than willing to help. So that's the core of it, is to be the louder voice for young entrepreneurs, to be that support system, and to be that one platform where everybody can just come together and grow.
Like us, like Voice of ASEAN. So that's why we have so much synergy together, I see us doing a lot for this region together.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
It's very exciting. Already thinking in my head all the things that we need to put together that we could work together with. But yeah. What I forgot to ask you earlier, is there a cost? How much does it take to be a part of for a membership?
Okay, so every country has their own costs. We don't control how the associations are set up and how they are run in each country. That's on their own. So the only thing is that, so you have to join your country. So for example, let's put from Malaysia. You need to join Maya as a member, right? So Maya membership fee is only 100 ringgit. Okay, we just make it very affordable. Then if you join as a Maya member and then you want to join the ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Association, you pay an additional 10 USD.
I see.
And that's it. You're part of it.
You have Maya is actually the ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Association, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the Malaysian. Yeah.
So basically, it's like. So if you want to be part of the charter, then you pay an additional 10 USD.
Yeah.
Per year, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty affordable.
Yeah, that's the whole. It's not. We're not trying to burden anybody in any way. It's just that we also need some sort of way to have some money into these, in this council and the associations to be able to run, because everybody is doing it on a voluntary basis. So these fees are literally to cover our admin costs.
I see. Okay. So people like yourself, you are doing it all on a voluntary basis.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, especially in the beginning.
Yeah, it is. But it's fun, I guess, which is one of the benefits.
It's fun, and I see it like my baby. And now my baby is 6 years old, and the carnival is growing. And, if I can say, like, I'm from a creative agency and I help to design and build the whole brand for the council and the carnival. So it's very exciting to see that brand growing, year after year, and really growing internationally. It's so watching your little baby grow.
Talking about the carnival, okay. Tell us a little bit about the carnival that's happening. I think what's the right? Yes.
Yep. So the carnival is happening next
week.
It's
held from 18 to 21st November in Brunei.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the carnival. It is the ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs Carnival. Am I right?
Correct. So the ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Carnival, we had the first one in 2016. So a bit less than a year after we launched the council itself. And that was held here in Malaysia in Bottreau. The second year was in the Philippines. And that's when it became an official ASEAN event. Because the first year we had to run it and show it and prove that, it is a great event and this is what it can do. We had to show what we can do. And so the second year, it then was approved and it became an official ASEAN event, which was launched by President Duterte at the time in Manila in 2016. So now it's an official part of the ASEAN calendar. And so so now we're in the 6th year and it's happening in Brunei. It's a virtual edition. As everybody knows, all the events are now due to the pandemic. But in a way, it's exciting because anyone can join just from your computer or your phone from home. It's super exciting. So the topic for this year is reimagining business in a new paradigm. So the whole idea behind it is it's calling for businesses and young entrepreneurs to really come over these disruptions that were brought by COVID-19 throughout And we're going to do this through digitalization, through leadership, collaboration, and to really have an inclusive involvement of women and addressing the great challenges of time that has come into this new normal. Because a lot of the topics now, and it's, if you really do research, you'll see that gender equality is a huge impact and has a massive impact actually on the global GDP. So this is also one of the reasons why we want to focus on this area as well.
When you say it's Carnival, so I'm imagining a lot of, popcorns and candy floss. So is there going to be a carnival-like atmosphere in this event?
Okay, so the whole idea of the name, the ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Carnival, the reason why we called it Carnival and not Forum and not Summit was because we're trying to move away from being too corporate. We're supposed to be young and vibrant and innovative and come up with ideas, and new and fresh ideas. So we wanted to pull away from that corporate thing so that the young people that come in really feel more comfortable and willing to be and spark their mind,
So that's why feel to the whole thing, correct?
Exactly. So you can come, you don't have to be in suit and tie, I mean, dress decently, but you can come in jeans and a shirt, no mini skirts, please.
So but what's going to happen there? There'll be people talking about based on the team, they'll be talking about their drive and the ambitions. And is there anything else?
So
what's the fun factor in there?
So it's a free event. Anyone can join. You can just go straight to AYEC website, which is ayec.org, and register. It's open to everybody. And you will see the entire program. I'll read to you some of the topics.
Okay.
So we have topics like COVID-19 disruption, so reflections from across ASEAN. We have reimagining leadership in the age of the new normal. We have speakers from all around ASEAN and from Australia, from Europe, and from all parts in the world. We have other topics such as women as co-creators, rising above turbulence and uncertainties. This is in line with our newly launched ASEAN Young Women Entrepreneurs Club, which we launched under the AYEC. And then we have a topic on the imperative of digitalization, so building smart businesses. A lot of businesses who were reluctant to become digital had no choice to become digital now. So it's talking about that journey that they are going through. And then the last one would be, it's called Sama Sama. It's a collaboration for recovery. So, working together to come back and recover all our businesses as one.
That's a very Malaysian name, Sama Sama. Malaysian word.
Malaysian and Brunei.
Malaysian, Brunei, and Indonesian, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, see, you mentioned something interesting. You said you just started the ASEAN Young Women's Entrepreneurship Council, Ayec, is that?
Yeah, a lot of acronyms.
Ayec. Could you elaborate a little bit about that?
Yeah, so the ASEAN Young Women Entrepreneurs Club was just established this year in July. And so what it is, it's under the AYEC, and so it is a platform to bring together and to develop strong young female entrepreneurs and women-owned businesses in the community of ASEAN, which is aimed at contributing towards ASEAN's socio-economic development. And so essentially, in an overall look of it, is to inspire women to become entrepreneurs or inspire womenpreneurs, as you can say, who are mainly MSMEs, to to grow your business and to expand your business into ASEAN. And it's also to be a platform to help these other women, if they have any issues or any problems that they want to talk about, to really come to us and help. And believe it or not, the women in this club are so interactive and they are so helpful. We managed to put this club and all the, we have to put, how would you say, the constitution, the rules, get all the women on board, and all the chairman was done in literally 1 month.
Oh, wow. But I'll believe
which
that.
which I was so happy. I was like, oh, I need to get more women in the council
No, I
now.
tell that about my own office. I need to get more women in the office.
Yeah, exactly.
We just work so much more targeted towards the end objective, don't we?
Yeah.
Like mothers. You know what's the end objective? We're just going to go and get the job done. There's this phrase by Margaret Thatcher that I absolutely love, and I think you're going to. It's like, if you want to get a job, if you want to get some advice, ask a man. If you want to get a job done, ask a woman.
Yep, she's absolutely right. She's absolutely precise. She's spot on. She's hit the
Yes.
nail on the head there, like bang.
So I think your ASEAN Young Women Entrepreneur Club, right? It's a club or council again? Club.
It's a
I think
club.
it's going to do really, really well. If you need any help from me, do let me know. I think,
Oh,
yeah, I'm not sure if I'll fit in that, but I can help you with that. It
yeah,
sounds fabulous.
definitely.
It sounds fabulous. So
Yeah,
closer
we're very
to
excited.
Yeah. So closer to home, you are the president of the Malaysian Young Entrepreneurs ASEAN Association. So this is for our Malaysian audience here. Just tell us what's going on in this association now, and how do members benefit from the association here in Malaysia?
Okay. So in short form, it's called Maya. And so what we're doing at Maya, essentially, you can say that Maya is the Malaysian chapter of the ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Council, and it's, brothers and sisters, so AYEA and the Women's Club. We are ASEAN focused, and we are also focused on entrepreneurs. So the way we promote ourselves is that if you are an entrepreneur and you are interested in the ASEAN market, or you are just interested in joining us and having knowledge about ASEAN, then come and join us. We make it super affordable. It's 100 ringgit a month. And what we do is, like, during the pandemic, I would, be honest, our events really slowed down. There was not much that we can do. And so now we're trying to pick up things a lot more, where we are planning to do at least every quarter, dialogues on different topics in industries from our members and from our committee members, to really advocate the industries that they are working in and connect them in business. So it's sort of like it can be mentorship, it can be it's a networking platform, and then hopefully next year when we can do actual events, we will be able to start all our events again. Like we have a big event that we did about 2 years ago called Next. So it's sort of like an entrepreneur exchange, and it is sort of, as you could say, it's like a mini version of the ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Carnival, but Malaysian focused. So we have talks, we have breakout sessions, and we have exhibition areas so entrepreneurs and small entrepreneurs and so MSMEs can come and really promote their businesses to all the attendees that come for the event.
That's really great.
Yeah.
So what's your vision for it, Deborah, for Maya?
The vision is it's very tied towards our AYEC. Because we want them to work together. We're not trying to separate them at all.
Okay.
So the vision and mission is, to grow entrepreneurship in Malaysia and to really tap into not only entrepreneurs who are, I would say, in the main cities or towns, that would be Kuala Lumpur, Penang, Ipoh, and Johor, but really also tap into the rural entrepreneurs. So in the past, we have also done programs together with rural entrepreneurs. Say we did one in Jeli in Kelantan, where we also work together with MDEC and Martrade, where we help entrepreneurs get their product from the farm ready to be sold. So we had courses on basics of accounting, bookkeeping, how to set up your Facebook account, how to set up your Instagram, how to brand, so I spoke on branding and your logo and your tagline, how to reply to emails, and how to design their packaging. So at the end of the course, they all had a product and a packaging. So if they wanted to expand and sell around Malaysia or even outside Malaysia, they were able to.
You've got the fundamentals.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's great. So last question, from me at least. How did a French Argentinian lady become the president of the Malaysian Young Entrepreneurs ASEAN Association, the Secretary General of the ASEAN Young Entrepreneur Council, and the Chairwoman of the ASEAN Young Women's Entrepreneur Council. So there's definitely a great story behind it, and we want to hear it.
I would say it all started when back in 2014, 2013, 2014. I had just moved back. I was previously working in Mexico. I used to work with Zalora here in Malaysia, and then I did the same thing in Mexico, in regionally there. And when I came back to Malaysia, I decided, you know what, I want to be an entrepreneur. I don't want to work for anybody. I want to build my network. And when I was able to build my network and get a big job with ASEAN Business Advisory Council and to do the branding for their event, I ended up networking. I had the opportunity to network with, all these entrepreneurs and all this ASEAN network. And being part
so
of
you were born in Malaysia then?
I was actually born in Singapore.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're an ASEAN girl.
Yeah, I'm very much ASEAN, and I speak Malay. Not Mandarin or Cantonese. That's a bit too hard for me.
Yeah, it's okay. Not for me too. I'm so sorry I interrupted you. Can you continue?
No problem. So being part of the core group, that was about actually when we first started to initiate the AYC, there was only 3 of us, and then it became 5, and then it became 10 as we grew. And I was in charge of building the brand, coming up with the vision and mission, the strategy. We had other people, connecting to each of the other countries, getting in touch with all these, ASEAN back and the associations, and checking that they're all governmentally endorsed. And so from there, when we had our first AGM, I was voted in as the Secretary General, and I have still been voted in every year. I guess because most of it is also in my head, and
yes.
So everybody's just like, Deborah, you run it, and we'll just follow, But what I'm doing now this year that I'm trying to do different is that I'm getting in an assistant secretary, because it's getting so big that I can't do it on my own. And I want other people. I mean, everybody knows what goes on, because every year I speak to every country as chair, like this is our brand, and this is what we want to follow, and make sure we respect our partners, and et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's a good idea to have another person to also help advocate this, not only from Malaysia, but from all the other countries, so that we have a wider admin source. And hopefully soon we will also be setting up, we will have an office in the ASEAN building in Jakarta, Indonesia.
Okay, that'll be your first office. So, but how would you be manning it with people who are from
No, so we have an office here in Malaysia, but been given the opportunity to have an office in the ASEAN building, the official ASEAN building in Jakarta. Is big, especially for us, for the AYC. So we definitely want to take this opportunity, and we're very honored to have this opportunity. So we will have our office there. We will have, like secretariat staff there, and myself, and together with the assistant secretary, will be running it together. I mean, everything is digital. We have to also prove the point that we are young and we can do this digitally. So it's from there. And then being part of the AYC, that put me on the stage to also run the Malaysian chapter, so the Maya, and likewise with the women's club. And so through that, and with my company Sienna DMB, it I guess it works hand in hand to help with all the branding and the building up of the company and the websites and everything. So it sort of all really comes together quite nicely and works well.
Well done.
Thank you.
Yay. Well, I'm just looking to see whether there's any questions. There's a question. Okay. So Shireen says, you're doing amazing work. How big of a role did Ayec play during the pandemic in providing support to small to mid-sized businesses who were impacted by COVID?
That's a good question.
Oh,
So
and
what
before
we
that, someone, Kong Yang Teng says good morning, Dato. So good morning back to you, Teng.
so what we did is as we have a very close partnership with ASEAN Business Advisory Council, they have given us a seat in their joint business council. So in the joint business council, they have partnership with basically all the countries who are linked with ASEAN, as I could say. So for example, EU, ASEAN, UK, ASEAN, Australia Business Advisory Council, ASEAN. So they all sit on this council. It's a very, very big council of networks. And having a seat there, there was a lot of discussion and action as well towards the pandemic and how we can help each other through this time. So our focus was working on the youth. So there was a lot of reports and papers that were written and released and that were actually submitted to the leaders that were in charge of these sectors in the government areas, which were actually taken action for. And even if we talk about Myanmar, everyone came together from all the joint business councils to really help and talk to their own governments to help Myanmar during this coup that they are going through. And in our perspective, we were really, of course, focusing on the young and the MSMEs and the thing. And what we came out of this pandemic was we now have created an ASEAN and an AYC and ASEAN Business Advisory Council policy dialogue, which we will officially have this event on the 19th of November, next Friday. And it's a dialogue between ASEAN-back members as well as our members. And the key focus areas are digitalization, leadership, and collaboration. And we will be talking in depth, and each country had done a report on all these different topics and submitted it. They're all going to be compiled and discussed during this dialogue on Friday. And then overall from this entire dialogue, it will then be compiled, and each country needs to take action in trying to achieve the agreements and policies that have been discussed in this dialogue.
That's great. Is it a closed door thing, this dialogue that's going to take place on the 19th?
It is closed door. So if anyone is very interested in joining this dialogue, they can always reach out to us. They can just, go on to
Voice of ASEAN would love to, because we like to cover that in our platform. So the outcomes of the dialogue. So we'll get back
so then
to you
we
later.
can send you an invitation.
Yes,
so
please.
anyone who's interested, let us know. And then if it's approved by both sides, then you'll get your invitation and you can listen in onto the dialogue.
That would be great. So I've got one more. It's actually a congratulatory note from Nara Subramaniam. He says, congratulations, Dr. Beatrice and Ms. Deborah, on your continuing efforts and adding value to ASEAN Young Entrepreneurs. Thank you, Nara. That's so nice of you.
Thank you so much, Nara.
Is there any other questions for us from the audience or any comments? And just give me 1 minute. Just a minute. They're searching through
No problem.
the ones that they want me to. That's not okay. So mostly just comments. Thank you. So then, Deborah, thank you so much for joining us, and join us live next Monday, everyone, 15 November at 5 p.m. for an interview with Nurliana Fatin Arifin, the 2021 chairwoman of Ayec. And Voice of ASEAN thanks you for your time, and we'll be uploading a recorded version of this dialogue in our portal for those who missed it.